How you doing? It's Khoa here. In this video we're going to be talking about Brandon Bornancin's book, which is called 7-Figure Social Selling, and how you can actually use the principles within this book to actually explode your sales. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and then let's get straight into it. So in this book, 7-Figure Social Selling, it starts off by Brandon Bornancin gives you that story of how he started, right? So he talks about how when he was younger, his dad was a salesperson, so he used to get dragged around to all these meetings, and there was one time when he attended this conference with his dad, and his dad won. He was also part of the President's Club, which is the number one when you're the top salesperson, right? But his dad said to him that, look around you. Everyone around here is making over 6 figures. Over there, that person's making 6 figures. Over there, that person's making 7 figures. And if there's one tip I want to give you, it would be this. And then Brandon Bornancin's dad said that you need to have a list, and you need to sell like crazy to that list, right? So you need to have a list and sell crazy to that list. And then that's what really sparked the attention of Brandon. And then eventually he went on, he built his own list. So I think he was in college at the time, and he started work in he was working on on online poker. So he was working on this software called, it was online poker or something. And then he was at uni at the time, and then he was making a lot of money through this online poker. So he had a list. His list was students. So he used to he used to go to apartments and he was door knocking. And then eventually he was able to build up a list of people who were interested, and he sold to that list. And then eventually he was making a lot of money in online poker. Then he was eventually driving a nice car. A lot of people were getting jealous, of course. And then he was just making a lot of money. But then it was shut down after about 3 years due to some sort of government policy or something like that. I can't remember. But I think that was a really interesting testament that the first thing that he talks about is that you need a list. You need a list. In this book, he talks about that you need to come up with a prospect list, and you can't make any money without a list. If you think that you're just going to wait around and someone's going to call you and you pick up the phone and talk to them, that's not going to happen. You need to go out there and build your own list. So what he's talking about, so he's talking about prospecting. So you need to go out there, you need to prospect, find the right people who match your target market, match your product and service. And then you build that list on your Excel spreadsheet, and then you pick up the phone, you call them, and try and pitch your product and service. And that's all it is. If the bigger the list that you have, the more targeted your list is, the higher chance of you to actually make more money, because it's just a numbers game. It really is just a numbers game, and you get to let the numbers play out. You can't think that you're going to win by just having 1 or 2 people on your list. You got to have 100 people on your list, maybe even more, because your closing ratio might be about 1%, and that's completely normal. So if you've got a list of 100 people and your closing ratio is 1%, you're going to get 1 customer. Okay, if your closing ratio is 1% and you have 200 people on your list, you're going to get 2 customers. And so that's just the way it is. And so that's why he talks about the 7-figure social selling. So in that book, and then eventually, most of the book contains a lot of scripts. So there's a lot of scripts within this book, and this book has got a whole bunch of scripts on which you can copy and paste when you're reaching out to these prospects. So he's got scripts on LinkedIn requests. So when you're on LinkedIn, when you're doing a LinkedIn request, he's got a script that says, hey, congratulations on blah blah post. It really resonated with me. I would like to add you to my LinkedIn network, and if you see anyone, if you see a connection that you see of any, if I can provide any introductions that I can provide to you of any value, then I'll be more than happy to connect you with them best. And then that's it. That's an example one of the script. I can't recite it word for word, but it's very similar to one of his scripts is very similar to that. And so he's got scripts on LinkedIn, reaching out to people by email when someone does a post, and this is what you can use to really grow your following, and also to get clients and customers through social media. So I was reading through it, and he definitely knows his stuff, because when he's talking about LinkedIn and everything, I'm always on LinkedIn every single day. I'm always connecting with people, looking for prospects, looking for the right decision makers. So I'm always on LinkedIn, and when he's talking about it, I can just tell that he knows what he's talking about, because there's certain details within LinkedIn that that you'll pick up, and then you'll be able to use it when you're prospecting. And Brandon Bornancin was actually talking about those type of things. So anyway, it's just what I want to say is that the two big takeaways that I got from the book is, number one, you've got to have a list. You can't do anything without a list. So you got to learn how to master building a list. You can do that through inbound marketing or outbound cold calling and outbound emails and so forth. Build your list. So we've got to have that list, and you can't do anything without a list. So if you start a company, start off with a list. If you start some sort of business, side venture, start off with a list. You've got to have a list of prospects that you can call on and sell to that list. And I do this personally. I've got my own list of cold calling people I need to cold call. I've got a lot of videos on my YouTube channel where I'm cold calling people, and I've got my list. So you've got to come up with a list. And number two, you need scripts. He talks about scripts is that the reason why you got to have a script is because you don't want to wing it. A script is really important because when you're talking to people on the phone, when you're cold calling, when you're talking to prospects and so forth, you can easily stuff it up. You sound like a jackass if you don't know what you're talking about. But when you got a script, when you got something scripted out, it gives you confidence. It gives you some sort of footing. It gives you some sort of ground in the game of sales, because it can go everywhere. Anything can happen in sales. But if you got a script, at least you got something to latch onto, and something that you've rehearsed, you've practiced, and something that you got some confidence in the game of sales. And I think that's a really powerful tip there, because we tend to just jump in and wing it, right? And so many times I've stuffed up on the cold call. But when I've got a script, I know exactly what to say, and I just read it, and I don't sound too mechanical. It sounds very fluid, but I just read it, and I've got some sort of confidence in the game. And when they come up with an objection, I read a second script and so forth. And that's what's really cool about this book, is that it talks about you got to build a list, and you got to have some scripts. You got to have some scripts when you're talking to your prospects. And obviously you can get a lot of these scripts that you can use within the book. You can just copy and paste it into your own ventures. So anyway, I really recommend this book. It's a really great book, 7-Figure Social Selling by Brandon Bornancin. This guy is a beast. Check him out on YouTube. He's posting a lot of good videos on YouTube. And another thing I learned about Brandon is that he values health, which is really cool. A lot of salespeople that you meet, they don't seem to talk about health, and they don't seem to care too much about it. But he had a really good upbringing where his environment was encouraging him to improve your health, and you can tell that he looks care of himself. He takes good care of himself, and I think that's a really good example of becoming the best salesperson. Is that you got to take care of your health. Take care of your health, and if you don't have your health, then you can't do anything. So take care of your health first, and then become a master at sales. So I hope you like this video. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.